Hey guys, Guy here on the precipice of the beginning of 49ers training camp. Players will report. And by the beginning of next week, by the end of this week, they'll be in pads. And that's when things really get interesting. But Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are going to talk on Tuesday. Perhaps by now you've already heard them talk. And to me, there's just a few important themes for 49ers training camp this year. And number one, the overarching thing for me is show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. So by the time you're listening to this, maybe there's great news. And Ricky Pearsall was only on PUP for a couple of days, and he's going to be back and practicing right away to start the week. That'd be great because it's important for him to get the reps. There's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressure on the Niners to get Juwan Jennings in. They just don't have healthy, experienced, and won't be suspended receivers. There's only one of those guys healthy, experienced, and won't be suspended. Juwan Jennings is the only one of those guys. And right now, Ricky Pearsall's not getting suspended, but he's also not experienced, and it doesn't appear that he's healthy. So he's two of the three. Even if he's one of the three, he's got to show. Not be healthy at the start, be healthy at the end. Ideally, both. Easier to get in the room than to stay in the room. And the Niners need him to stay in the room. Put aside Ayuk's injury, even if he were healthy. Put aside Jennings wants more money, even if he were happy. They need this guy. He was a first-round pick. It's not just about this year. It's about the future. And if he goes through a second off season, and I know every time I say this, there's like a gunshot aside. He was injured last year. The really light contact shoulder injury that occurred last year was alarming. The hamstring. I was there when Kyle Shanahan, when they wrapped up OTAs, we'll be back in 40 days. Ricky, he'd be able to come back before the beginning of it. That was kind of the sentiment, was even if they just had like 2 more weeks, he'd be back. But we're not going to do that now, and we'll see him in 40 days. Well, we'll see. We'll see. So that addresses the bad news if camp starts and he can't go, and if there's a sudden good news. Oh, Pup was just this, the other. Now we're good, and he'll be ready to roll day 2. Okay, but that'll be a big show me. The kicker competition. This thing is real, and I think what's interesting about it, because this will be, there's a couple of things you really watch for in any particular camp. Sometimes it's a quarterback competition. That's not the case this year. The Niners are set at 1, 2, and 3. This year, I think the couple of things in the defensive secondary, like Renardo Green, does he establish, yes, I am the number 2 cornerback on this team, and do they get a solidification at nickelback? What happens at left guard? But I think the kicker competition, because they've changed the special teams coach, he is a special teams player himself. He is a guy who's already kind of, he got to make a pick essentially with Junior Bergen. He got to bring in his own punter. He got to bring in his own snapper. He got to bring in his own competition for Jake Moody. So the writing is on the wall here for Jake Moody. This is a real competition. And, Jake's been really good in practice. I've been to many practices. He makes a lot of kicks. Was it just the foot or the ankle last year, as the Niners said? Show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. Be healthy and be good. I think this competition is going to be a little bit different for him, a little more telling for him, because I think it's not just about making kicks. It's one thing when you've got a guy in the room, Brian Schneider, they wanted to draft you. He's been there with you. It's your guy. And all else fails, he's your guy. You're not Brant Boyer's guy. He'd love for you to be his guy, I guess. But it really puts you in an uncomfortable situation if you're Jake Moody. So it's not just about when we roll out to practice, do I make this kick? It's about all the stuff that happens that we don't see. It's about all the stuff that happens in a competition. How do you act around your teammates? How do you act with the coach? How do you handle that pressure? So Brant Boyer he's watching a lot. And so I think what we're going to get is you're going to see these kicking competition stats from Niner practice. And I still think tie goes to Jake Moody, given his organizational history. But the writing is there that they are trusting Brant Boyer's evaluation. And so I think this puts Jake in a very different mental space, probably from a competition standpoint, than he was last year, when it was like, yeah, it's competition, but not really. Yours to win. Or yours to lose, whichever the way you look at it. But I think he's being evaluated on more things than just making kicks. and that's pretty significant. The other thing I said, the other cornerback spot, there are so many holes on this defense that they need to fill. Cornerback 2, safety, nickel. I mean, 3/4 of the defensive line, the second linebacker spot. So everything's going to be really important. I think D. Winters being in the lead for the linebacker 2 spot, that's one that when we fast forward to the preseason, you're like week 1 of the preseason, everyone's going, well, what matters? D. Winters, that one's going to matter. Like watching him in live action where he's all amped up, running around. Is he making good decisions? Is he over pursuing? Or is he looking like a guy that can run next to Fred Warner for 17 games? So that one's big. But I think even before they put the pads on, now when they put the pads on, it really matters. But even before they put the pads on, it's pretty easy to identify all of these things going on in the secondary at every level of the defense. They got a star at every level of the defense, but they got more questions at every level of the defense. I'm not one, the Ben Barch, Ben Barch, the left guard, non-football injury list. Oh no. Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Matt Hennessy. Fine. Let's just do that. You got Trent Williams. You got Dominic Pooney. You got a center and a right tackle that organizationally you like and have kept. So there's no excuse on that one. There's no excuse there. That's got to work. And if it's not good, you don't get to say, oh well, we were planning on Ben Barch and he whatever happened, non-football injury, whatever happened. You don't get to say that. Because if you're coming in with that as the only plan with no backup plan, then you've already failed. And so show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me you're prepared at left guard. You don't get to use Ben Barch got hurt off the field as an excuse. Show me, don't tell me. I think they are showing on the kicker competition that Jake Moody's in a real kicker competition here. Alfred Collins, health. Show me. CJ West, just, Michael Williams, all these guys. Be at all of these. There's 9 open practices to the media. Hope we see him at all of them. When the fans are there, hope we see him at all of them. When the first preseason game rolls around, I want this he's not going to play in the first preseason game. He's working his way back. I mean, playing in the first preseason game is not the most important thing in the world, but they just have, for all of the promise, and there was a lot of promise, there's not a ton of room for error here. There's a lot of players you're counting on developing. And, some of those guys are guys you've paid. It's not just about, the rookies have to develop. Deommodore Lenoir, you paid him not to stay the same to get better. Brock Purdy, you paid him not to stay the same, get better. The one I haven't mentioned, I skipped over, was Christian McCaffrey. Show me, don't tell me. Can't wait to see this guy back. One of the most exciting players in the sport every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturdays too. Love watching that guy play. He's played 8 years in the league, and half of them have been huge touch numbers, right? 330, 360, once 400, and half of them have been not big numbers, 170, 65, that sort of thing. So about half of the time you've gotten like full season, ride that horse. I would not. We've talked about it a lot. It's tough because he does everything and he protects so well. You got to protect Brock. But I don't want to wait until week 10 to mix Isaac Guerrero in. And if Isaac Guerrero can't stay healthy through that, well, then he can't stay healthy through that. But better to know that before the trade deadline than after it. But mix him in. He finished last year strong, then got hurt, thought he was really hurt, wasn't too hurt. But mix him in right away from the jump, and maybe you just give yourself a slightly better chance to get a full season out of Christian McCaffrey. And if that means that Isaac Guerrero shows you can't carry the load, then so be it. But you got to know that immediately. No lollygagging. No looking at this schedule. Look, the schedule. You play the Seahawks week 1, big game. Let's go. Urgency. Show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. All right. This week, actually, in 30 minutes, I'm off to Las Vegas, but I'll be keeping an eye on things. I will be well aware, well in tune. John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan practice starts. I'm going to Big Ten Media Days. I'll be back home Thursday. And I think out to a Niners practice this weekend. especially if the pads are on. I want to see the pads on, right? And off we go. So a lot to get to. By the way, I'm not going to say too much about this, but I went to, do I want to say this? No. Okay.